And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. Thanks for being here, all of you censored commoners. This is episode 278, covering all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos that is 2024. A little bit less crazy clusterfuck clown world chaos now that we've won last week, but I got a feeling that shit is still going to get real crazy before this gets all resolved. Lots of crazy stuff on the docket today. Trump to obliterate censorship. Elon Musk reposting a Ron Paul tweet, this time directly about ending the Fed. Lots of conversation on the rise about ending the private banking cartel that runs the U.S. government. RFK message to corrupt FDA officials, pack your bags. Tom Homan named border czar. Lee Zeldin named head of the EPA. I believe it is, what's his face? Stephen Miller, tapped to be a top official as well. All kinds of good stuff. Pistol permit reciprocity on the horizon. So if I have a pistol permit in Connecticut, then California and New York and all these other shit left-hard locations will have to accept and recognize my pistol permit, just like my driver's license. So that's what we need. That's a good step in the right direction. All kinds of good stuff on the docket for today. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday as we cover all the craziness. Like I said earlier, 6:45 p.m.-ish Eastern Time. So join us weekdays for Common Censored. Use hashtag Common Censored and hashtag InfoInfantry when you share the broadcast. You can find us on X at @LordSterling_. Thank you again to our new followers who joined us over the weekend over on Rumble and elsewhere. Links to all of the topics, stories, articles, videos we covered today will be posted in the video description on Rumble immediately following the termination of the episode. So you can pop on down there, find the links for the topics that you find the most hardcore, and spread them out there across the internet, helping to function as force multipliers with the show to accelerate and exacerbate the Great Awakening and continue pounding the final nails in the globalist communist coffin, which we are well on the way to doing at this point. Really exciting. Mama Mac will also be adding timestamps down there. So if you're watching this later on and you want to maximize the efficiency of your time and focus, click down there, find the topics that are interesting to you, and jump right to the point in the episode where we talk about them. Throw Mama Mac some love too, and head over to alplama.com, your new herbal health guru. I almost said Oibel Health, Mama Mac, like the penguin. I got to hang out with Mama Mac and her husband and Maritime in 1995 yesterday. Had a little cookout to celebrate our victory over the past week. So it was good to see Mama Mac and fam and Maritime 1995 too. Thanks for coming over, guys. You can also support the show directly by heading on over to our link tree at Common Censored, where you can find different ways to subscribe monthly, tip, etc. Find our merch, our affiliate links, and everything like that. Thanks in advance for supporting the show and keeping Loki's belly full of delicious treats. Loki appreciates it. Right, Loki? Say something? No, she's a little shy at the moment. All right, disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. All right, let's see what we got on the docket today. Oh, I got to share the screen. That would probably help. Give me 1 second while I pull this together over here. All right, let's go. Let's start off with a feel-good a feel-good article over here. Oh, man, let me get rid of the brand tag so you guys can actually see this headline. because you're going to want to see this one. It's hilarious. A feeling of dread spreads across federal workforce as second Trump term looms. Oh, CNN. They're feeling so scared over the federal government. Yeah, you should be, because you're going to be fired. Deep staters, scumbags who just hold your positions for decades and think that you unelected shitbirds can just dominate and oppress the public. Your days are over. It's finished. Finito. So these losers over here are getting nervous. They're getting nervous. That's right. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. You're going to be fired. CNN saying much of the federal workforce is on edge and bracing itself for the likelihood its ranks will be purged when President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Yes, I can taste the salt. Trump, who has derided civil servants as agents of the deep state. Fuck you. Fuck you. We don't even need to read any more of that. Spin, spin, spin. But the most important thing is the terror. The terror that we can taste coming through the text. These bastards are scared. They know they're criminals, and they know that we are coming to end their reign of terror against us. Turning it back on them. Mandy, what's up, Mandy? Good to see you over there. Wild Thing, call sign. What's up, Wendy? And I see Paige Stormblade as well. What's up, Paige? Thanks for joining us. How about this one? Let's jump over to Jay Anderson at The Project Unity on X. Breaking. Absolutely insane fascist dictator calls for freedom of speech and upholding the Constitution. Radical tyrant Trump thinks he can give people unrestricted freedom of speech and remove institutional censorship? How can this attack on democracy continue? Makes me sick. Well said, Jay Anderson. Let's hear Donald J. Trump talk about his plans to obliterate censorship. This type of thing is the type of thing that could free YouTube, putting us all back on even ground, restoring the formerly amazing platform to its former heights. It could happen. It could happen. Doesn't mean we're going to stop using Rumble. Hell no, we're going to still keep using Rumble as our primary streaming platform. But let's jump into this because this is amazing and the salt will flow harder than ever. Unrestricted as a result of that.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple. Just like dominoes, one by one, they'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people.
Yep, it's true. I got a feeling this video is probably from March 2023, around the same time that other Agenda 47 video came out. Twitter files were just dropping at that time, so this is not new information, as far as I can tell, but it is nonetheless just as sweet as day one when he made this announcement. Even sweeter now that he's in a position to actually make all of this come to fruition. So get excited now, guys. Get your spare pairs of pants, because woo, man, you're gonna need them after this.
They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business.
Real quick, I just saw Zach Bruce over on X and reminded me I wanted to say happy Veterans Day to everybody out there who's served in the armed forces and in adjacent positions. Thank you to the a happy belated Marine Corps birthday for yesterday. Salute to all of our Marines, all of our veterans out there, everybody who's put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms. Let's not stop now. Let's finish the job, guys. Thanks again. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Marine Corps birthday. Chesty Puller, wherever you are. Good night, Chesty Puller. But we're just getting started.
From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality,
Love you, brother.
transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data.
That's right, Mama Mac.
Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter.
Yeah. You want to take down something, you need a warrant, bruh. You need a warrant. We're finished with your censorship. Mr. Ward, 35. Thanks for joining us on Rumble. Make sure to smash that like button, guys. And don't forget to tune into Billdozer tonight. 9:30 Central. We'll launch a raid at the end of the broadcast. Billdozer! Make sure to subscribe to Billdozer 74 on Rumble. Broadcast Monday, and Thursday, 9:30 Central Time. You guys like this show? You love Bill Dozer as well. I had a good time hanging out on Thursday, celebrating the win. Fuck yeah, Dozer. Join the Dozer Den. Ooh, make sure to follow Unique Prepping on YouTube. I see you out there, Z-Man. What's going on, bro?
Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose.
I like that. If you're over 18, you should be able to opt out of content moderation as a whole. As a whole, so that everybody can access the full, unadulterated stream of information coming out of Twitter. That's what I want. Out of X, I should say. I don't want any moderation.
The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large.
What's up, Trump?
There won't be anything left.
Rip it out.
By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you for making this happen, everybody out there. And God bless America. Providence is on our side. We will prevail. We will remold society into the vision of the Founding Fathers. We will realize it at a level, at a scale to which it has never been realized before. It's going to be beautiful. Another important step in that process is this one. Breaking. Trump announces full concealed carry reciprocity. What this means, no matter what state you're in, if you've got a concealed carry license, each state will have to honor it. For example, you have a Florida concealed carry permit. California would have to honor it. This is indeed huge. Huge.
Seventh, I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. In addition, seventh, I will protect the right.
Awesome. Oh, man. That was one of the things that he was saying that he would do last time that never happened. And so hopefully this will happen and will happen bigly, because we need that. Just like a driver's license, it should be the same thing. Like you said, your Second Amendment doesn't end at the end of the border. I don't even think you should need a license. It's your right. You don't need a license for your right. You need a license for a privilege. This is not a complicated concept. So let's repeal the National Firearms Act. Let's get back to a constitutional carry system nationwide where we don't have to be licensed for this right that we already have. Here's another good one. Time to end the Department of Education, guys. It's time to end the Department of Education. Oh, man. The leftists have to be shitting their britches at this point. Hope they're wearing their brown pants.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children, because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up, all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all back to the states. Thank you very much. And
that's right, Mama Mac. End the Department of Education now. Let's do it right now. Let's not even wait. And the left is like, oh, he said he's going to end it and lock the doors, but he doesn't tell you what the plan is, what he's going to do. The whole fucking point, idiot, is that he doesn't need a plan because it's going back to the states. So the states can make their own plans. So we can have 50 independent laboratories of experimentation each working to implement and create the best possible design for the best results. The cream of the crop will rise to the top. The states that have the best education will be, their practices and principles will be emulated by the other states because it will naturally draw families to move to those states where the education is good, forcing the other states to improve their systems. This is the whole problem, is that they take the general welfare clause in the US Constitution and they take two fucking words and try to claim that they can extrapolate that into dozens of departments. There's a thing in US jurisprudence called void for vagueness. And if there's a law that is so vague to the point where it doesn't explicitly lay out what it's supposed to do, it's automatically void. So in this case, general welfare, they try to say, oh, that gives us the right to the Department of Education, to the Department of Agriculture, to the Department of all these fucking departments. It's void for vagueness. All it said was general welfare. So in my opinion, none of this is legitimate. It's all garbage. If it was any other circumstance, the courts have ruled bazillions of times that legislation is void for vagueness. General welfare clause is as well, in my opinion. I think when they say general welfare, they're just referring to the other things specifically listed in Article 1, Section 8, which delegates powers to Congress, and they're not actually talking about adding anything different. I think that the general welfare is describing the things that are listed in there already, and you can't just use that to power grab all these different areas that you're not specifically, explicitly entitled to legislate in regards to, in my opinion. And this is the result here of the Department of Education. Elon reposting this meme saying, not exactly great value for the money. 1979, Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education. Since then, America went from numero uno, number one in education, down to like 24th, maybe even less now. They were like down in the 30s for education level right now. So obviously the Department of Education has had the opposite intended effect, just like everything. They make the American Heart Association and start pushing seed oils, and then heart disease skyrockets as a result. Everything they do, it has negative externalities that actually make everything worse. Market intervention causes negative externalities. But the problem with education and with these other things is that when you centralize control over a system to a few people at the top of the pyramid, they don't know the little intricacies of the system that are playing the nuances for all the various states. It eliminates competition entirely, stagnating innovation and progress. So just as a principle, we don't want anything like this centralized at the federal level. We need to put it all back to the states, allow the free market and the 50 laboratories of experimentation to innovate, create, improve, progress, and then allow that to trickle down and be implemented by other states as they try to emulate the good processes and systems. Centralization is anathema to competition, to improvement, to innovation. So we need to just realize that. That's why world government is a bad idea. Anything centralized is just bad, period. You can't rely on people at the center, at the top of the pyramid, to be able to know every little thing about every little thing. That's why you need decentralization. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for not only eliminating competition, but for system failure, total system failure. If you have all your eggs in one basket, you know what happens. So you need multiple baskets. We have 50 baskets already just waiting for the eggs so that we can protect them and grow them up bigger and better than ever before. How about this? They don't call them the deep state for nothing, Jones says. Just leaked to CNN, unelected officials at the Pentagon already holding secret meetings on what to do if Donald Trump issues orders they don't agree with. Some of these orders include using active military to assign and carrying out mass deportations and, quote, fire corrupt actors currently in the U.S. government. Why have our politicians allowed these unelected bureaucrats to hold so much power? Jessica over here at Travis_4_Trump says, I hope Trump fires them all. And I agree. Treason, says the Gateway pundit. Military brass holding, quote, informal discussions on how to override Trump 47's orders. Fire them all. Get rid of them all. This is not okay. You can't just decide if you work at a company to overrule and override and circumvent your boss, the owner of the company, which is the U.S. people who picked the president, who's Trump. You can't just override our votes and your boss to do whatever you want. So, yeah, I have to agree with Gateway Pundit. This smells like treason. Doesn't smell like Teen Spirit, I'll tell you that. Here's a video breaking it down from Jones. CNN reports the Pentagon is meeting in secret to plot against Trump. Let's check some of it out.
Questions at the Pentagon, man. I don't know at what level this is. It just seems like it's informal discussions. I guess it's understandable they would have those discussions. It also, Scott, is it?
Look, I don't like this because what's Donald Trump supposed to think? You know, he's sitting down there, he's the president-elect, and now he's got to read the newspaper tonight that the unelected bureaucracy of the federal government is having meetings at some level about how to thwart or countermand the commander-in-chief.
And I'd like to say again, because this is exactly what they did last time. Mark Milley openly admitted to taking control of the military with Nancy Pelosi before J6 military coup. He openly admitted to having a backdoor channel with China to warn them in case Trump were to make a move against China, saying, don't worry, China, don't worry, Winnie the Pooh, we got the nuclear codes. Trump doesn't have them. Treason. Arrest every one of these fucking people.
I don't care if it's at the Pentagon or at the HUD or Ag Department. It doesn't matter. The unelected bureaucracy of this government answers to the civilian and duly elected leadership that we just did. And what if you were in his shoes and you just won the popular vote with a clear mandate, and now you got to read that these unelected bureaucrats are plotting against you? What would you think? If they have problems, let me finish. If they have problems, they should not have meetings that then leak to the press. If they have ideas or things, they should call the president's office and say, hey, we'd like to have some discussions for planning purposes. But secret meetings that leak, terrible way to get off to a start with the new administration.
Well, I agree that that's maybe not the best way to do it. However, Trump has set them up to be in this situation.
Oh, yeah. The wife set the husband up to beat her. Yeah, that's how that works. You fucking scumbag. He didn't set them up to commit treason. They're committing treason on their own, lady. You made me do it. You made me do it. Look what you made me do. No, that's not how it works. The husband's a wife beater. He violated her rights. These people are plotting in secret to circumvent the president. They are violating the law. Exactly, Bill. Blame the victim. These people are trash. T. McGroin, Scott Jennings, how long has he been on CNN? I don't know, but he is the best of the best on CNN by multiple orders of magnitude. Scott Jennings over here on the left is based. He is based. He should own CNN after this.
Where they think that he's coming after them.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next.
CNN and others are all reporting the Pentagon's been having secret meetings about how they're not going to follow orders of Trump. And now remember, Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, famously called the communist Chinese and said, don't worry, Trump doesn't have the nuke codes. He's not in command, which is a military coup in waiting, and administratively and diplomatically is a coup over the presidency and over the people. And now you've got bills introduced by Senator Blumenthal, a bill that during insurrection, during uprisings they promise they're going to have if he gets into office, all the different Democrats have been saying it, as you know, that they have a bill to strip the president of domestic use of military. So they're planning to stir something up where that would be needed. And that would be a legislative coup over the executive there as well and over the people. So the unelected bureaucracy of this government answers to the civilian and duly elected leadership. Elon Musk joined Trump for a call with Zelensky. Here are the articles. Just in, it was just leaked on CNN that unelected officials at the Pentagon are already holding secret meetings on what to do if Donald Trump issues orders they don't agree with. Some of those orders include using active duty military assigned to carrying out mass deportations and fire corrupt actors currently in the U.S. government. Why have our politicians allowed these unelected bureaucrats to hold so much power? I hope Trump fires them all. Yeah. And remember what Hillary said a few months ago. I'm not going to bore you with the clip. If you want to find it, it's on In Wokeness. I've already played this like 10 times. I don't know if we really understood how important Elon Musk is to free speech, said Chad Johnson. In wokeness, Hillary Clinton, we lose control if social media stops censoring content. Turns out she was right. So
For real, Threeper.
they're out
No
in the
excuses.
open. And Yuvaldo Harari said that 2 days before Trump got elected,
Back at you, Big.
he said, our world government is over. No one will pledge allegiance to the world government if Trump gets elected. And the New Yorker said, oh, we talked to top TV executives. Everybody already hates them. They have no ratings. They'll be dead if they can't convince people to vote against Trump. You know, dead as in dead politically. As in, oh, that town's dead, or that restaurant's
Right,
dead,
Wendy.
or that place is dead this time of night. Not like we're going to kill them. So just insane, absolutely crazy. And then you've got the clip I already played that went viral of Pompeo when Trump got raided last year at Mar-a-Lago going, yeah, he looks pretty criminal. He's a criminal. He'll do some prison. Ha, ha, ha. Trump hadn't seen that. Now he has seen that. You're not getting the cabinet Pompeo.
Yeah, Trump announced that both Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo is asshole. Both of those assholes will not be included and invited to return to the new administration. Love to see it. Nikki Haley put out a statement in response saying, oh, I'm just wishing everybody the best with the new administration. Yeah, that's right, bitch. FAFO.
And Bill Gates is scurried back after being caught working with Kamala Harris behind the scenes, giving her at least $50 million, saying he wants to be friends with Donald Trump. Well, nobody wants to be friends with you. Your wife left you. You've got criminal charges against you in the Netherlands and India. No, sir. So here's that CNN clip I just mentioned. Clip 10.
On discussions at the Pentagon. I don't know at what level this is. It just seems like it's informal discussions. I guess it's understandable they would have those discussions. It also, Scott, is it?
Look, I don't like this because what's Donald Trump supposed to think? You know, he's sitting down there, he's the president-elect, and now he's got to read the newspaper tonight that the unelected bureaucracy of the federal government is having meetings at some level about how to thwart and the meeting that's coming out.
The president. Wow, that's a coup.
Yep. So we saw the rest of that. Let's keep moving. Rep. Greg Steube, FEMA scandal larger than thought. Apparently, it wasn't just that one crazy lady text messaging her underlings, her henchmen, to avoid Trump houses. D.C. was directing and advising officials to ignore homes with Trump flags during the Milton hurricane situation. Last week, news broke that FEMA official Marnie Washington ordered her staff to avoid assisting homes with Trump flags in their yards in Florida following the aftermath of recent Hurricane Helene. Helene, that's the one. Marnie wanted the hurricane victims to suffer for their support to Donald J. Trump. Here's a picture of this unrepentant scumbag. The story broke after a whistleblower came forward with text messages revealing FEMA official Marnie Washington ordered relief workers to purposely skip over homes in Florida displaying Trump signs in the aftermath of Milton. On Monday morning, Rep. Greg Steube of Florida told Fox News that this was not an isolated incident and was likely happening all over the state of Florida. Rep. Steube also suggested that these criminal acts by FEMA were also likely taking place in North Carolina. This is a serious accusation Republicans need to investigate.
I certainly, if it was happening in Lake Placid, it's happening all across the great state of Florida, probably happening in western North Carolina, probably happening all of the states that were hit by Hurricane Helene. And that's what we in Congress need to get to the bottom of. The FEMA administration wants to say this was an isolated incident, but there is alleged text messages from Washington, D.C. to the supervisor advising them and directing them to do this. So somebody higher up within FEMA was advising the people on the ground to do this. So if it was happening in Lake Placid, I can guarantee you it was happening in other places all across the great state of Florida and the country. And the Oversight Committee needs to get to the bottom of this. And the very first stop would be the person who was fired, put them under oath, and ask them who in their chain of command was directing her to do this.
That'd be some interesting testimony. You touched on this a moment ago. Ron DeSantis, your governor, sent this out on X. The blatant weaponization of government by partisan activists in the federal bureaucracy is yet another reason why the Biden-Harris administration is in its final days. Did you reflect on that at all, that last point there, coming off this election?
Well, that's the other great thing about that. Yeah, that's the great thing about these election results is Donald Trump's going to be president in a short couple of months, and we will get to the bottom of it because somebody in his administration will take over FEMA and will do its own investigation after the Biden-Harris administration is out of there. So we'll get the answers.
These fuckers thought that they were going to win the election. and that nobody was going to have the power to look into this after the fact. Same stuff with other election scandals going on, where like in California and Arizona, weird anomalies, votes appearing in the middle of the night, stuff going on again. They're stealing the election from Kari Lake and others, it seems. We'll get into that in a bit. But they didn't think they were going to win, so they thought they were going to be able to get away with this stuff. Not happening this time.
At some point, but I want to know how high up these decisions went, and every single person in that chain of command that was involved and or responsible for directing people who worked for FEMA that to not give FEMA aid to Trump supporters is absolutely atrocious.
Well, it appears FEMA did the right thing and terminated this individual.
Agreed.
Had they not, we may never know the truth about it. Greg.
Yeah, she got terminated, so that's good to hear. How about this one? Panic! Career DOJ prosecutors, quote, terrified, and, quote, losing their minds, unquote, after Trump landslide, looking to exit rather than sticking around. Probably a good plan, because you're going to be arrested. We're finished playing the games. We're going to clean out the federal government. And once and for all, the swamp is called the swamp for a reason. It is riddled through and through with corruption. We saw Trump's plan to take the various departments and spread them across the country, getting them out of D.C. area and its inherent corruption. We're going to fire all of you fucks. So, yeah, you better just let us know who you are now and leave peacefully. So we don't have to hunt you down legislatively in terms of investigations, because that's what RFK is going to do. He's going to investigate, find the corruption, and weed all of you out. Yeah, to a non-extradition country, Threeper. That's probably what they're thinking. We actually have, my next story is about that. Career DOJ prosecutors terrified, losing their mind. President Trump vowed to fire special counsel Jack Smith, quote, within 2 seconds if he won the election. Quote, we won the documents case. We're in the process of winning all the other cases. I think even sometimes when we have to go to appeal, we got immunity at the Supreme Court, so it's easy. I would fire him within 2 seconds. He'll be one of the first things addressed. Good stuff. So they're getting scared over there. They're getting scared. Another one from Carly Bonnie at Carluska P on X. Panic in D.C. National Security Attorney Mark Zaid tells CNN's John Berman he is advising some of his clients who are targets of President-elect Trump, who are criminals, in other words, to leave the country around Inauguration Day in January, saying, get out while you still can. But don't worry. We'll track you down. We'll trace you. We'll find you. We'll bring you back. And we will string you up. After due process, of course. Nuremberg 2.0, baby. We're coming for you. We're going to flip it on you. You tried to persecute innocent people. We're going to arrest and prosecute the guilty, which is you guys.
Counselor, thanks so much for being with us. And this is kind of a little bit of a separate subject, although tangentially related to what Kate was just talking about there. But you are advising clients who are worried about retribution from the incoming Trump administration, revenge.
Yeah, they should be scared if they did something wrong. If you did something wrong, if you violated the law, if you tried to subvert the authority above you in your chain of command, you should be scared.
And I was reading an article where you said you are counseling some people to leave the country. Why?
Well, look, Donald Trump and those in his inner circle have been very clear over the period of time, and especially during the campaign, that they do intend to retaliate, and they do intend to retaliate swiftly. They've made those promises. He said that he intends to have his second administration one that fulfills promises. So it would be naive and foolish for us not to take any of this seriously. And we're preparing. Now, I've represented a lot of clients who have been specific targets of President Trump and those around him. We're not just talking about my federal employee workers in different agencies who are uncomfortable, like you've just heard in this last segment. We're talking about people who have been specifically called out by the former president of the United States.
Criminals.
We're not rushing to it. I'm not saying sell your home, move overseas, never come back, become an expat. I'm telling certain clients, a small number, that, you know what, take a vacation for inauguration and let's see what happens in the days or week or two afterwards.
What do you think he could do? What form would retribution, retaliation, revenge take in your mind?
Well, it
Wood Geek, what's up, brother? Happy Veterans Day.
can vary depending on, obviously, the individuals. It could be as harsh as criminal prosecution. I mean, you yourself and your network are potentially vulnerable. How many times have you done a story on classified information and it being leaked? Well, under the Espionage Act, that's prosecutable. The only reason why it hasn't happened previously is that the norm of the Justice Department has been not to prosecute journalists.
So the norm of the Justice Department has been to ignore justice. Gotcha.
Be no norms that are in the second Trump administration. So we're preparing.
The norm will be the rule of law. It's not that complicated.
Preparing for all this. It could be tax audits like we saw back in the Nixon administration. It could be terminations like your last discussion was about. It could take the form of civil penalties. I mean, there is a whole host.
It could take the form of Nuremberg 2 and spikes, wood chippers, ropes, and volcanoes for you bastards.
Of
after due process.
Usage of laws, not even abuse of laws, but the use of laws in a way that hasn't been typical or perhaps extreme that people could fall victim to. Again, it's just preparation.
And is it Donald Trump exclusively that you're concerned about?
There you go.
Actually, in many ways, it's more about the people who will be among him. In the first administration, and I represented quite a number of them who were in the White House with Donald Trump, there were people, for example, who would take documents off his desk so that he wouldn't sign them, and he would forget about it. That we saw in the Nixon administration.
Yeah, and they should be fucking arrested.
As well, in fact. We're concerned this time around with the extremists, some of them, who will be around him, that they will bring the documents to the president to sign.
So they'll do their fucking job. That's what you're worried about? These people are insane criminals.
I mean, we've got people like Steve Bannon and others who have made it very clear where they stand on seeking political retribution against their perceived enemies using what is called lawfare, which they have been doing for the last 4 years.
Are you kidding me? You guys are the ones doing the lawfare. Everything they do is just confession through projection. Everything they say we're doing is what they're doing 100%.
He's been out of office in suing perceived enemies.
I just want to ask, Mark, you're a lawyer, a good lawyer, a very active lawyer. Do you feel like you have recourse to fight this in the courts in the coming months, if this were to happen?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, look, the judicial...
He's straight up saying these guys were taking documents off of the president's desk. He's their fucking boss! You're defending these scumbags? Are you kidding me?
The system is still intact. You know, there are a lot more judges appointed by the president, former president, but I've been before many of them, and oftentimes, if not all the time, you know, they're not swayed by political aspects of it. There are jurisdictions where that's been a problem, for sure. The biggest problem with challenging this in court, based on what the administration might do come January 20th, is the length of time that it takes.
Yeah, Gator.
If someone is prosecuted or sued, I mean, Trump threatened to sue me for treason. It doesn't exist, but he did it. But, you know, if something like that happens, it takes time to go through federal court. We just saw that with the special counsel prosecutions. The reason why they failed was not substantively, it was procedurally. They took too long. So that, you know, I hate for any of my clients to be facing whether criminal or civil prosecutions in certain way, and they're victimized for that for 2-3 years. That's still not.
These people are such scumbags. We got Ron Paul discussing this topic as well. Today's episode talking about how everybody's scared in the establishment.
Others who are keeping an eye on this thing, we're not going to have the wool pulled over our eyes again.
Well, the big question is coming up now. How many of these individuals that played dirty pool, you know, are going to be punished? And Trump has said something that he's going to take care of those people.
Dirty pool, because they're pooping in the pool of the Americans, man. one hell of a dirty pool in D.C.
He probably will, but there has to be some a moderate way of accomplishing that, because if it's only vengeance, even if they deserve it, it doesn't solve their problems. And
good thing it's not vengeance; it's justice.
But the one thing that is real, because there have been several articles expressing the concern of those people in limbo that know that they were wrong, they were doing the wrong thing, but they would never say they were doing something wrong and have guilt about it. They would say, well, we made a bad choice and somebody messed up and didn't answer a question right, and that's the reason. But some of those diehard, nothing has changed. We just have to work harder and do the same thing and be tougher on it. So I think that right now they have a right to be worried. They should be, and I think the more they clean the slate, the better. Just start over,
baby.
Clean out the stables. Well, here's an article we're talking about. It was in Politico this morning.
I love Ron Paul.
And we thought it would be good to bring up because it's sort of ironic, and I put it in the title in a way. People that are running the Department of Justice are terrified of justice. So this is the Politico piece. Many in government are worried about Trump's return. At DOJ, they're terrified. I go to the next one. This is what they're talking about. A collective sense of dread has taken hold at the Department of Justice. Talk about waking up in a good mood when you see that, which drew Donald Trump's rage like no other part of the federal government during his campaign. Well, I wonder why that was. They waged lawfare on him for 4 years. The whole Russiagate thing was within the Department of Justice, the FBI. Remember all the memos and everything? They were at war with him for 4 years, and now Politico acts like it's somehow, not appropriate for him to be a little irritated.
Right, Mama Mac.
Yeah. The worst thing would be to just wipe the slate clear and let them go. And
it would be the worst thing. Snarl Barky, what's up? Good to see you. Always love seeing that name in the chat. Snarl Barky, welcome.
No, there should be some notification. They have to have maybe some mark on their forehead. I was one of those bad guys. But that's not going to happen. But, one thing I wanted to mention, though, is about, the coup that went on in the middle of all this.
Yes.
And because, Democrats, they believe in democracy in a different way than we suggest you should believe in it. But they believe in, having a vote. But most people now consider that the Democrats in their infighting did a coup. And they got rid of Biden and forced him out. And even he seemed to be surprised. You mean I'm not president? I'm not going to run for president anymore. So, but the democracy thing, I think, is there is democracy. A lot of times when
but we're the ones doing the lawfare. It's insane.
The libertarians make the point that democracy is the dictatorship of the majority, and just to put the majority together is just as evil as that's where they get their power and authority. I think that I've often mentioned that the market is a good example of good democracy. People vote. I was always taught that the consumer is king, and that meant that businessman doesn't get any benefits, and the working class doesn't. It's all a marketplace. And if the product is good, the money is made and people do better. But a lot of people think that's too cold, but it works a little bit better than that. But I think the market has it. But the market in a social political sense occurred this past week or so, because there was an election. And it probably came out a little stronger than I would have predicted percentage-wise. So I consider that I think what I want to call the ultimate jury has spoken. The people spoke, and it wasn't. You didn't have to have lobbyists telling them how to vote. I mean, the people who wanted to influence them, and they were mostly influenced by high prices. And that is what got to them, and the stupidity of spending money in Ukraine and different places, and having so many problems here at home.
That's right. The ultimate jury has spoken. The people have given Donald Trump a mandate to burn down the deep state. You should be scared. You should be scared. Deep staters, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. I was going to say something. I don't remember what it was, so we'll continue. NHL legend Wayne Gretzky wears MAGA hat at a Trump party, sparks social media meltdown. Uh-oh, Wayne Gretzky, danger zone. Hockey legend, the great one, number 99, appeared to royal social media last week after photos surfaced of him and his family at an election party for President-elect Donald J. Trump. Photos of Gretzky wearing a white Make America Great Again cap while at the party in Mar-a-Lago surfaced over the week. The Great One was also seen with his wife, Janet, daughter Paulina, and son-in-law, Dustin Johnson. Here he is wearing his MAGA hat. Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players of all time, the Canadian legend, received backlash on social media for this. Oh, man. Gretzky was my idol growing up, so this stings a lot. Oh, man, I hope it burns. I hope it doesn't only sting, but it burns. I've been a huge fan of Wayne Gretzky since he entered pro hockey with the WHA, with the Racers. I've always idolized the man. This is very disappointing to see that he would support a man with such low character. Well, I'm not too disappointed to see that somebody who doesn't even know how to use periods and commas, is disappointed by this. Your opinion does not mean much to me. Bill Nickerson, yuck. Greg Roberts, so disappointed in the Gretzky family. I looked up to you since I was a child. You were the role model for decency and family. Still is. That's what Trump is nowadays, baby. You people are so deranged and deluded and misinformed and led astray. We're going to have to rehabilitate you. We're coming. We're going to give you what you want. You think Project 2025 is real? Fuck it. Let's go for it, guys. Let's round them up, put them in re-education camps, and make their greatest fears come true. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I think that the destruction of the censorship system in itself will result inevitably in waking up a lot of these people when we destroy the controlled corporate media cartel and restore sanity to reporting. Gretzky joined several athletes who have outwardly supported Trump on his way to defeating Vice President Kamala Mamala. Athletes like Nick Bossa, Harrison Butker, James Winchester, Brett Favre, Danica Patrick, Jake Paul, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and a slew of UFC fighters. Just FYI, guys, I think we're going to take Friday off this week because I've never seen a Mike Tyson fight live, and he's fighting Friday on Netflix at 8 against Jake Paul. So I might just skip the show that day because I want to see Mike Tyson fight. I hope you guys will watch that as well. Should be a lot of fun. Gretzky rocking MAGA hat at Donald Trump's election party has the liberals losing their minds. People freaking out. Mike Gerald Gibbs. Wayne Gretzky should be stripped of all official honors in Canada. He's a disgrace. No, we should invade and liberate Canada. When I'm president, we will invade and liberate Canada. Throw Justin Trudeau into the nearest crevasse in the tundra in the Great White North and bury him up under the ice for people to discover 50,000 years from now with a note that says, "I'm a loser." Dear Wayne Gretzky. Oh, what are you flipping off his bottle of wine over here or something? Oh. Wayne Gretzky and his wife joined their children, Paulina and Trevor, along with Paulina's husband at a private Donald J. Trump election event. Let's face it, outside of hockey, Wayne Gretzky has always been a piece of shit. You guys are in the minority. You're still acting like you're in the majority. Wake up! Wake up! Mama Mac, I don't know if it would be legal to stream the fight. I can check into it though and take a look, see if we can get away with it. Maybe we can do it. Trop, Sterling, if you raid Canada, you can stay at my place. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. My best friend lives in Canada, up in King City, north of Toronto. What area of Canada are you in, bro? Next time I'm up there, if we're close, we'll have to all meet up with the Canadian censored commoners. That would be awesome. Twould be awesome. Key fact. Alex Jones says, reposting Drew Hernandez. Kamala Harris, quote, won, unquote, pretty much everywhere without voter ID. This is a really interesting map, guys, across from Detroit. Nice. Nice. Road trip. Trump would have taken everything if it weren't for illegal aliens and compromised election systems. Look at this. Here's the map. They don't say whether any of the red states are voter ID or not, but look at this. All the places in blue, pretty much no voter ID. No ID in California. No ID in Oregon. No ID in Washington. No ID in Minnesota. No ID in Illinois. No ID in Delaware. No ID in the non-photo ID in Virginia. No ID in New Jersey. No ID in Massachusetts. No ID in New York. No ID in Vermont. No ID in Maine, although we do require ID in New Hampshire. Non-photo ID is required in Connecticut. ID is required in New Jersey. Well, that's it, baby. That's it. This is blatantly a steal in all of these states where they don't even require you to show an ID. That's right, Snarl Barky. They stole Virginia. They stole Virginia. It's so take a moment when you have a chance, screenshot this right now and just share this around, because this map, sometimes I say a picture, it says 1,000 words. I think this one says like 14,329 words. How about this one? To all those states, Charlie Kirk posted this at Charlie Kirk 11 on X. To all those states that signed onto the interstate agreement to award electoral votes for president of the United States by national popular vote, now's your chance. Look at this. If states did popular vote to pick their electors, this would have been the result. 270 to win. We would have had 520 electoral votes, with Kamala getting a measly 18. So come on, guys. If you wanted to do it, let's do it, states. Let's do These people are insane. We love requiring ID to vote. Missouri. Oh, yeah. Yep, Trop. Wow. Totally wow. So crazy. This is a crazy map over here. So maybe you guys might want to reconsider that position, because it won't help. April 58. Love Gretzky, but Crosby's better. Sidney Crosby. I like Pavel Bure. Scott Stevens. I don't know. I haven't watched hockey since the 90s. I'm showing my age over here. How about this? The left can't stop self-owning. This was in the comments to that post. Dave Brown tweeting, liberals, if we could just jail Trump, get rid of MAGA, end the Electoral College, stack the Supreme Court, ban voter ID, and censor free speech, we could save our democracy. Wait, it sounds like all of those things would actually impede democracy. It's almost like these people are a total joke. A total joke, total losers, total hypocrites. We'll save democracy by getting rid of all kinds of elements and aspects of democracy. If people believe them, man, maybe they shouldn't even be allowed to vote if you're this stupid. Let's be real. How about this? Lara Logan posting, this looks like a fly trap. Those who cheated should not expect to get away with it this time. Reposting General Mike Flynn at Jen Flynn on X. Hashtag Kerry Lake won. And some of those involved with Arizona elections are going to find themselves in very hot water. That's right. We're coming for you. Mila Joy at Mila Loves Joe posted this one. Maricopa County, Arizona said these signatures match. Arizona must not think Trump will prosecute election fraudsters. They are wrong. Arizona election officials will face Trump's wrath. They will end up in prison. Let's go. Yeah, let's audit all of the Arizona elections. Fuck it. We won. Who cares? Let's audit all of the elections nationwide and show that we still won, even though they were trying to defraud us all and steal the election. I think even though we won in Texas, they've already announced that they're going to be auditing all the Texas elections to, for that exact purpose, basically. So it's coming. We coming. You better be scared. FAFO. Criminals. Sleep with one eye open, because you awoke the sleeping giant, and we are taking off the velvet glove to crush you with the iron fist. Elon Musk posting this one. Indeed, the obstacles are overcoming the Kafkaesque nature of the rules governing this vast bureaucracy and ensuring that maniacally dedicated small government revolutionaries join this administration. Reposting Vivek, who says, we won and now have a once-in-a-century opportunity to radically downsize the size, scope, and mission of the federal government. And the top obstacle to our success won't even be the Democrats. That's right. It's the scumbag rhinos, as like they're trying to steal the Senate majority leadership role right now. John Corwin, John Thune, and or whatever Thune's first name is, and Rick Scott down in Florida. They're trying to sideline Rick Scott. There's been a whole big, massive upheaval as a result of an alleged list of the way that people, the way that these senators were going to be voting. And even Thune now has come out and endorsed Rick Scott. So we got to hold these bastards in the Senate's feet to the fire, make sure they put Rick Scott in there from Florida so we can execute Trump's agenda without Republicans standing in our way. Mitch McConnell tried to fuck us, which is why I like the hashtag Benedict Mitch. Hashtag Benedict Mitch, called early Senate leadership elections to try to squeeze, to try to slip in some more rhinos to take his position. We can't allow it. We can't allow it. So make sure to contact your local senators if they're Republicans, and make sure that they're voting for Rick Scott on Wednesday with this secret vote that they've been planning to do to replace the majority Republican leadership in the Senate. That's right. Ditch Mitch and the Chinese witch. Ditch Mitch. Benedict Mitch. Yep. Wall Street Ape saying every single senator involved in this needs to have their donor money investigated. And let's see what illegal deals they've been making. Let's remove and prosecute them. No more of this uniparty garbage. Accountability needs to happen immediatamente. These people are criminals, right? And John Strand, that's right. This secret ballot stuff is ridiculous. Honestly, does any American here, they're holding a secret ballot to choose the Senate majority leader and think that's a good idea? What's the point of democracy exactly? Obviously, it's not a democracy, but we elected Trump. The people in the Senate need to respect the wishes of Americans. You work for us, motherfuckers. So respect what we want. We just gave a national popular vote mandate to go in and execute Trump's agenda. Put somebody in there who will execute Trump's agenda. Otherwise, you are going against your voters, which is nothing new. So that shouldn't surprise us. But yeah, that's what's happening right now. Gator just posted this chat. Senator Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. That's right. A rhino. No more rhinos. Take back the GOP. Replace the elephant with a squirrel. Peanut, baby. For Peanut. News Nomad. Vivek calling it like it is. Does the GOP have the fortitude to do what needs to be done? Hopefully. That's right. We gave Trump a mandate, American Papa Bear. Now it's time to get the job done. Speaking of which, he's already making good picks in a number of cases, alleviating people's fears that he might bring in more rhinos. Like I mentioned before, he announced he will not be bringing Nikki Haley in or Mike Pompeo. And he just announced that the former ICE director, Tom Homan, will be the new border czar. He will oversee deportations. Here's a relevant video of Tom responding to a gotcha question from 60 Minutes about deportations. At Real Tom Homan is ready to do this job. Give this guy a follow, at Real Tom Homan. This is a based patriot who doesn't give a fuck about your fees, who will get the job done. He's been doing it for like 30 years. There's nobody in a better position who gives less of a fuck about what the left says than Tom Homan. And so this is awesome. Trump, I'm pleased to announce that the former ICE director and stalwart on border control, Tom Homan, will be joining the Trump administration in charge of our nation's borders, the border czar, including but not limited to the southern border, the northern border, all maritime and aviation security. I've known Tom for a long time, Trump says, and there is nobody better at policing and controlling our borders. Likewise, Tom Homan will be in charge of all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Congratulations to Tom. I have no doubt he will do a fantastic, long-awaited for job. Right, everybody's like, oh, well, how much money is it going to cost to deport the illegals? Well, it couldn't possibly cost as much as we're giving them in free money and benefits, so do the math. Fucking idiots. Deport them all.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
What did she say, $88 billion? Well, we've sent more than that to Ukraine for their borders. So you think it's worth it for us? I think our interests are worth more than Ukrainian interests, period. So yeah, you already sold me, lady.
Families?
Of course there's. Families can be deported together.
Ah!
We have seen one estimate that
Let's
says...
rewind that. Sorry, because I paused. Oh, well, we'll just start over. It's only 28 seconds.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there's. Families can be deported together.
Booyah! Booyah! The return of logic, the return of sanity, the return of fuck your feelings. You broke the law. You started off your relationship with this country by acting in bad faith and circumventing the immigration process to come here illegally. You basically said, please deport me, so we will. Fuck you. How about that? And wokeness, meet our new border czar, Tom Homan. Here's another good one of him putting Alexandria Occasional Cortex in her place over here. That's right, Outlaw Dogs. Homan is a badass. Doesn't give a fuck. That's the right attitude we need. I want more. I want more, baby.
Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options.
Yeah, that's right, T, folks. T, McGroin. Save us the money and just walk back over on your own. You know we're coming for you. So save yourself the hassle, save us the money, and just go. Because if you don't, we'll find you and we'll send you back anyway.
To secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommend a zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Mr. Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think happens when Americans get arrested? They get separated from their families. They're playing on people's heartstrings with these bullshit narratives that make no fucking sense. What do you think happens when people get arrested? They get separated from their families. So yeah, we're going to fucking separate them unless they all want to leave together. Not that complex. By coming here illegally, they knowingly and willingly put their family in a position to be separated when the law gets enforced. They're fucking criminals. They did this to themselves. No sympathy. None. Less than none. Negative I or something. I don't know. Let's move on to the next one. Just in, President Trump chooses Lee Zeldin to run the Environmental Protection Agency. President Trump is wasting no time filling out his cabinet before he takes over the White House in 2 months. Trump announced he's picked former Rep. Lee Zeldin to run the Environmental Protection Agency. This marks an important step in ending the Democratic Party assaults on Democrat Party's assault on American energy via the Green New Deal and safeguarding property rights. Zeldin previously served 4 terms representing Long Island in Congress before losing to radical left New York Governor Kathy Hochul by a surprisingly narrow margin in the 2022 gubernatorial race. I'm like 8 miles from Long Island in that direction. We're at Castle Sterling on the Sound, the Long Island Sound. Zeldin is a close ally of Trump and regularly appeared at Mar-a-Lago during the 2024 presidential election. Quote, as the 45th and 47th President of the United States, I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected former Congressman from New York, Lee Zeldin, will be appointed to serve as the administrator of the United States Environmental and Protection Agency, Trump said in a statement. Lee, with a very strong legal background, has been a true fighter for America First policies. He will ensure fair and swift deregulatory decisions that will be enacted in a way to unleash the power of American businesses, while at the same time maintaining the highest environmental standards, including the cleanest air and water on the planet. That's right. We want real environmentalism, not your war on carbon dioxide, the purpose of which is to create a global carbon tax to usher in a global government and simultaneously cripple energy production worldwide because you want to depopulate. We're done. We want real environmental protection, preventing pollution of the air and water, like chemtrails and harmful chemicals being, everywhere. The plastic, microplastics just everywhere in the environment. So we're done. Quote, he will set new standards on environmental review and maintenance that will allow the United States to grow in a healthy and well-structured way. I'd argue that the EPA has no right to regulate anything. Environmental Protection Agency, that's not something listed in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution that delegates powers to Congress. I say get rid of EPA entirely. Afuera! Javier Milei style. Zeldin released the following statement to the New York Post after being selected by Trump. Quote, I'm deeply honored to have been asked by President Trump to serve in his cabinet. As EPA administrator, we will restore American energy dominance, revitalize our auto industry, and bring back American jobs, and make the United States the global leader of our artificial intelligence advancement, and slash the red tape holding back American workers from upward economic mobility. That is key. Red tape is preventing small businesses from being able to operate at all, while market advantages are given to mega corporations that gives them an unfair advantage in the system. Unlike Democrats who feign concern over the environment to attempt to sabotage American energy, Post reveals that Zeldin actually focuses on protecting the earth. His work will include protecting Long Island from toxic dredge waste. His work includes protecting Long Island from toxic dredge waste. The AP notes that Zeldin is also a defender of fishing rights. In 2016, he wanted to open 150 square miles of federal waters in Long Island Sound to state jurisdiction for New York and Rhode Island for striped bass fishing. This activity is presently allowed in state waters, but banned in the federal area. They don't have the right to do that, in my opinion. Zeldin becomes the second New Yorker selected to serve in Trump's upcoming administration. Rep. Elise Stefanik earlier accepted Trump's offer to become United Nations ambassador. He also just picked Susie Wiles to be his chief of staff. I think it is the first woman ever to be chief of staff for a president. You lefties should be celebrating. You should be celebrating. But nope. Doesn't look like it. Which is this one?
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending
Did we play this
all
already?
education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children.
Yep, we do. Yep, already played that one. My bad. I had the wrong link there. How about this? Green Lives Matter at Ultra Frog 17 posted this one. Trump's top contender for head of the CIA, Kash Patel. Kash motherfucking Patel wants to implement a 24/7 declassification office releasing files about JFK and 9/11. On day one, he wants to bring out Jeffrey Epstein's black book of names that were being blackmailed. He wants to bring out all the Russiagate files that are hidden and expose the truth about the January 6th pipe bomber. He told Steve Bannon he wants to exact justice and find the conspirators in the government and the media who worked to usurp the will of the people. He wants systematic change at the FBI and CIA coming from an awakened American people. It's going to be an incredible 4 years, Patriots. We are putting in the best of the best, hopefully. Mama Mac, let cash loose on the CIA. I agree. Let's check out some cash videos.
You need a 24/7 declassification office, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, baby.
Truth, whatever, I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool, this is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system.
Yes.
Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty. The Lovebirds text from FBI, DOJ land, Russiagate, Strzok and Page were texting each other. They were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI. And they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump. Then we finally find those text messages. You know what the FBI and DOJ do for like a year? Redact them to congressional investigators and congressional men and women running the oversight of their agency. That's just one example. But it gets even better. Here's the deep state full circle. Just last week, do you know what Strzok and Page received from the Department of Justice? What? A $1.5 million payout to settle a lawsuit that Strzok and Page brought for the improper disclosure of their personal text messages on FBI phones. And the DOJ just rewarded them. They broke the law. They broke the chain of command. They broke every regulation there is in the FBI. They weaponized the system of justice against a political target they hated. We found those text messages, and we got them declassified finally in full when I became Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them, and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office.
Plus, everything that the federal government does, they do for us. We're their bosses. We have a right to see what they did. They don't have the right to keep secrets from us.
Don't have me regurgitate it to you. Read it. Get the documents, get the files, get the memos. But the deep state came full circle and gave these guys a payday for rigging a presidential election and breaking the law.
Sounds about right.
So now you know what
geek. That was money to make sure they stayed quiet. Sounds right to me.
happens. That's step one. Step two, get America the truth. And that's what that office would be for.
Boom. Boom! It's going to be huge.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said, this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book. Or the manifesto.
But the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
Times 1,000,
and
bro.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book. And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text message communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in Government Gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you.
We need not only a central node to declassify, but also another second central node to deregulate, just constant removal of regulations.
As the former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here.
Right. They used the 1947 National Security Act to hide their criminality. We're done. It's over.
Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key. On how the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man hours against John Brennan's team that did it. And we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusion. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it, and the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
If you rolled out the Epstein Black Book and Diddy list on day one, it would shrink the field to pick for government seats. Oh yeah, baby.
Highly confident that when you go back and as a senior member of this administration, President Trump's administration, starting in the afternoon of the 20th of January of 2025, do you feel confident that you will be able to deliver the goods, that we can have serious prosecutions and accountability? And I want the Morning Joe producers that watch us and all the producers that watch us, this is just not rhetoric.
I want to go work for cash. Let me in.
We're absolutely dead serious. We're not. You cannot have a constitutional republic and allow what these deep staters have done to the country. The deep state, the administrative state, the fourth branch of government, never mentioned in the Constitution, is going to be taken apart brick by brick. And the people that did these evil deeds will be held accountable and prosecuted, criminal prosecutions. Cash, I know you're probably going to be head of the CIA, but do you believe that you can deliver the goods on this in a pretty short order, the first couple of months, so we can get rolling on prosecutions?
Yes, we got the bench for it, Bannon, and you know those guys. I'm not going to go out there and say their names right now so radical left-wing media can terrorize them.
Gross, Skater.
Excuse me. The one thing we learned in the Trump administration the first go around is we got to put in all America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. And the one thing we will do that they never will do is we will follow the facts and the law and go to courts of law and correct these justices and lawyers who have been prosecuting these cases based on politics and actually issuing them as lawfare. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And Steve, this is why they hate us. This is why we're tyrannical. This is why we're dictators.
Oh man, I want to see this happen so bad.
I want the American people to have enough ammunition of the truth that they are the ones that enact the accountability in Washington, D.C. That is how you see a sea change. I know the people that, guys like me, may take self-fulfillment in seeing that guy or that gal go to prison for breaking the law. But that is not going to fix Washington, D.C.
You don't think so?
Not alone.
You don't think that's an important piece of the puzzle here, is to hold these people accountable, prosecute them, imprison them, maybe more? It's an example, and as an example to everybody that's coming after them. If you do this, we're coming for you, and this is what's going to happen.
I agree in full that it's a big piece of it. But it won't fix the next man up behind them unless you can combine that piece with educating America that this is going on writ large.
Yeah, people seriously need to be informed, to wake up. Wood Geek saying we're going to need to stock up on popcorn. Yeah, baby. Hopefully, if we could actually make it that far, we need to make sure that Trump, from now until Inauguration Day, does not set foot in the same state as J.D. Vance, because if those two are together, the deep state could easily set off a nuke, taking them both out, so then they could swap in Kamala and co. blame it on Iran and do all this bullshit. So we need to make sure that they are far away from each other, keep our eggs in separate baskets, multiple states away, do not get on a plane together, etc. We need to protect our champions to the maximum degree until we can get everybody in position to execute this deep state takedown.
Because you're not going to get everybody, right? But if you get enough Americans in there to get Congress to do what they should be doing, like prosecuting Merrick Garland for breaking a congressional subpoena and violating the law, he can send Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro to prison for violating a congressional subpoena, but he can do it on his own, right? What I want is for people to get Congress to execute the authority they have on instances like this and have him held accountable there. And then I want the DOJ and FBI to be run by the Constitution. I want the intel communities to focus on our overseas threats and our border. I want all of these people that join the ranks of government to respond to the needs of the American people. It might sound pie in the sky, but if you want to fix it. I give you 50 things to do in here, but if the American people aren't behind you, then you won't have the accountability you really want.
Boom. Let's check out another cash video posted by Jessica at Jessica_4_Trump. Kash Patel as CIA director would be incredible. We would actually have somebody who would go scorched earth on the intelligence agencies. That's what we need.
Yeah, look, Nancy Pelosi and company wanted to turn downtown Washington, D.C. into downtown Kandahar. They literally called, and I was there with the chief, as chief of staff at DOD. They called the SecDef and the chairman, and Pelosi said, "We want tanks." And we said, "What? You want an A1 Abrams tank? Where are we going to put this, Madam Speaker? And are we going to use a tank on American citizens at the United States Capitol? Of course not." So we didn't do it because it was a disgusting politicization of the day. And it shows you the liars that Nancy Pelosi has now been caught in. And these are the people that wanted to kneecap Donald Trump. It's no different, unfortunately, for guys like Mike Flynn, who were illegally unmasked, and his name was sent to the media, which was a felony to disclose that kind of classified information. And then, again, what did they do? Just like they did with impeachment 1, they gave a piece of the transcript so they could target someone politically instead of actually using the Constitution to target criminals. And
yeah, that's right, Mama Mac. Not only are they trying to send $6 billion more or something over to Ukraine, but the Biden regime just lifted a ban on contractors, American contractors operating on the ground in Ukraine, I think. These people are trying to start war very, very bigly. There was rumors going around that Trump had spoken to Hitler Putin and told him, warned him against escalating. But Russia has come out and said that conversation actually didn't take place. We'll get into that in a second as well.
His life was turned upside down. And it wasn't until 3 years later, when I was the deputy director of national intelligence, that we declassified all the information the FBI withheld from the American public because they exposed their corruption. And in it was Mike Flynn's own innocence. They withheld it from him, just like they did during the Russiagate scandal and the FISA court warrant application for Carter Page. This is the DOJ FBI playbook. They will use government tactics and classification systems to hide their corruption. They've done it for years, and Donald Trump's the only force that can break through it. And so all these things stitched together. They might be different acts in different years, but they are all the same cover-up tactics from these government gangsters. And that's why we got to go out there and give the people the truth. That's what we're about, and that's what we're doing. Yeah, look.
Yep, we really need to give the truth to the people so they can see past the lies and deceit and through to the evil. New World Order, rule of the few deceitful, controlling the masses, never lowering taxes, holding the assets, owning your asses, poisoning plastics, anointing the fascists, creating the class splits. It's batshit crazy, makes me lyrical backflip. Verbal Gatlin, info bullets packed blasting. Let's check out the next topic. T just posted this in the chat. Breaking: GOP keeps control of the House. Republicans will control all 3 branches of government in a huge sweep. Good news. Good news. Woo. Oh, man. 3%. Sorry to hear that, bro. Sounds particularly brutal. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to your friend there. Damn. Yeah. But this is a good one. That was from one of my songs I played on Friday, Wendy. The Republicans will keep control of the House of Representatives and control the Senate in a huge government-wide sweep this election. Christina Leila wrote this article. The U.S. Supreme Court currently has 6 conservative justices and 3 liberal justices. I wouldn't necessarily say 6 conservative justices. That's a little iffy. But hopefully they'll feel more empowered to actually do the right thing now that Republicans are in control everywhere else. Republicans will control all 3 branches of government after Trump won the 2024 election in a landslide with huge down-ballot victories, except for in Arizona, where they're claiming that, Kari Lake somehow got more votes than Kamala, but is still losing to Ruben Gallego. Total bullshit. Ooh, thanks, Outlaw Dogs. Yeah, make sure to check out Kash Patel's book, Government Gangsters, which they held in the review process for like 6 months because they were trying to prevent that thing from coming out. The fight was futile on the part of the deep state, but they did not want that book coming out. That's for sure. Congressional races are still outstanding, but Decision Desk HQ has projected the GOP to win the House with at least 218 seats as of Monday morning. Let's head on over to Decision Desk and see what they've got listed right now for the House. Look at that, 218 for the majority. Woo! Good news, guys. We still have red-leaning territories that are undecided, so hopefully we'll have a lead of at least a couple seats in the House. Reuters reported President-elect Donald Trump's Republican Party will control both houses of Congress when he takes office in January. Decision Desk HQ projected on Monday, enabling him to push an agenda of slashing taxes and shrinking the federal government. Republicans had already secured a U.S. Senate majority of at least 52 to 46, Edison Research projected, and DDHQ, Decision Desk headquarters, projected they would hold at least 218 seats in the House of Representatives, with 8 races yet to be called in Tuesday's election. It appears Alaska GOP candidate Nick Begich has unseated Democrat Mary Peltola. However, AP still hasn't called the race. Nick Begich would be epic, would be an amazing, awesome pick for Senate up in Alaska. I think, or maybe this is House. Either way, man, Nick Begich is the shit. InfoWars guest and loyalist to Americanism for decades. Thanks, Trop. Loki, Trop says hi. No, you don't want to say hi back? Thanks, Trop. So this is really good. Really good. Thanks for the breaking news. T, appreciate you. Let's see what we got next on the list. Here's a story about the Hitler-Putin Donald Trump phone call. Russia calls the Putin-Trump conversation, quote, pure fiction, unquote. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov denied claims that Trump allegedly had a phone conversation with Putin on November 7th. Quote, this is the most obvious example of the quality of information that is now being published, sometimes even in fairly reputable outlets. This is completely untrue. Pure fiction. This is just false information. Source Sputnik. So fake news again. I know that we had other reports that he was communicating to Putin via mutual friends, which sounds more realistic to me at this point. But hopefully we can establish friendship, travel and trade with Russia, make them an ally, help diffuse their the way that Biden and the deep state has been pushing Putin into the arms of Xi Jinping, Winnie the Pooh. You got to stop that from happening. Already they're saying they're not going to de-dollarize. Major step in the right direction. So this is really good news. Mama Mac says she fed Loki treats last night in person. And she didn't bite you this time. Good job, Mama Mac. Making progress. It's all about how you hold the treat, right? To prevent her from being able to stick her little beak through the cage and nip at your finger. Arizona using that Common Core math. For real, Wendy. For real. Kyle Becker posting, remember way back when 90,000 voter registrations were dropped off in trash bags at Maricopa County at the last minute, and about 40,000 of them appeared to be fraudulent? Well, you'll never guess what the margin is in the Kari Lake and Ruben Gallego race. just about that exact amount.
That does include 90,000 voter registration forms that were dropped off on the deadline October 7th. That was the largest single day of voter registration forms in Maricopa County's history.
And didn't they have names on them like Mickey Mouse and Jerry Seinfeld?
We had people with entire trash bags full of voter registration forms in our lobby. Now, a lot of
leftists aren't people. Sorry, Richard.
People have asked about the integrity of those voter registration forms. About 50,000 of those voter registration forms were voter registration forms that we simply wanted to process and could process and get those people prepared to be able to participate in this election. 40,000 approximately of those voter registration forms were, I think the charitable word would be to say they were needing attention. Those would be voter registration forms that were damaged, voter registration forms torn, voter registration forms written illegibly, voter registration forms that tried to register Mickey Mouse, Jerry Seinfeld, Donald Duck, among others.
And this is the fucking scumbag who came out in a deposition who hates Carrie Lake, wants to do everything he can to sabotage her. You'll need to be investigated there, pal. We're coming for you. This bozo-haired clown needs to fuck right off. Illegal voting. That's right, Threeper. And we're not letting it slide this time around. There will be federal investigations as soon as we get in power. So motherfuckers like you, Steve and Richard, need to be praying to your God, because we are coming to prosecute any and all criminals. Arizona at this point seems to be just straight up run by the cartels. Super crazy. All right, guys, let's terminate the YouTube broadcast and go over to Rumble and exclusive broadcasting mode. So if you're watching on YouTube, come join us over on X and Rumble. Link is now in the YouTube chat. If you can't make it, sorry to have to ditch you, but we'll be back tomorrow. So until then, let's get ready to rumble.